And here we are with another one. This is the DTG 1390 installed inside, and also it has some additional functions like preheating the table. And from what the owner said, probably the pump has no pressure, or it's weak, or it's clogged, something like that. So that would be the first thing that we have to check. But first, let's see if everything else is starting okay. And of course, probably the pump is clogged. I don't think it's it has to be replaced because it's DTG ink, so it's not that aggressive as UV. But we will have to check the head as well, because when the pump loses pressure or gets completely clogged and so on, and if there's no flow of ink through the head might get clogged during time also. So all of those things will have to be checked. But let's just see if there's any other problems besides the pump, because often people say, oh, it's nothing, it's just head has to be replaced, or pump has to be replaced, stuff like that. But usually often is a few other issues with the printer as well. So I'm gonna check to see if the printer is gonna start, because sometimes the printer won't even start at all or initialize. So let's see if that's gonna happen over here. There, you see, so there's can't even initialize. So I'm guessing that the pump is either skipped some teeth because the wiper is not closing, or it can't close because it has so much ink built up on it that it can't even close, can't even go left or right. So that's probably what happened here. So first thing, get the pump out. So that's the starting point where we have to start. So we will have to disassemble this main cover over here and get the pump out. This will be a bit more easier than the with the UV printer, because there's no sensor holder, or there isn't any aren't any holders for the CIS system or the water tubes. So should be relatively quick about disassembling, but still there could be some additional problems, like as usual. But yeah, we're gonna see where will it lead us. So we have to pull this CIS system through the cover so I can lift it up until when I unscrew it. So yeah, this cover is standard. You have two bigger screws on the top and a couple of them back and front, and also there's no fans to be disconnected over here, so this is pretty easy to do. I don't remember if we had any DTGs of this type. I think there was one that we've filmed, but I cannot really remember what the problem was. I think it was the problem with a leakage, I think, to the keyboard, but this is not the case over here. This should be simpler, but yeah, maybe I spoke too soon, because often when there's just a tiny problem, it becomes big problem. So yeah, maybe if I put the camera over here, because this is where the pump is. So yeah, we should disconnect the tube for the waste ink over here and remove this piece that is in front of the pump. Okay, so as you can see, this is all much easier to pull out and disassemble than on the UV. So this is the part that is in the UV version would be holding the sensors over here and the limiter in the middle, but as you can see, none of these are mounted on this piece, so also it's much easier to disassemble than with the UV version. Okay, so you got this piece on the left holding the, I don't know how you call it, rail. We remove that, so it's got 2 screws here on the right and 1 over here, and this piece that comes on the top. Alright, let's put that aside. So the pump over here, it has 1 screw over here, so you unscrew that through these tubes over here. It has 1 screw on here on the right, and basically 1 screw in the back that is holding the casing of the pump, but there's 1 more screw that is for the ground wire, so all of that has to come off. So now if you've seen that the head stuck over here, so now we're gonna have to I'm gonna try to push the gears of the pump a bit to the front to see if the brake is gonna pop in, so I can move the head carrier with my hand. Okay, so I did it. So this is the brake over here, the white piece, and probably the brake didn't even went in when the head wanted to go left to initialize. It seems that the head carrier is sliding pretty good, so I'm guessing that the owner has been lubricating the main shaft over here. But let me just try to bring it a bit more closer. So as you can see, the pump is not really in the best condition, and at least what we have to do is to clean everything off, because you can see that here on the capping station, the seal that goes around the head is pretty much has a lot of ink build up. So yeah, we're gonna have to clean that and clean the tubes, and we're gonna try to test it to see if the pump is gonna still gonna be usable. If not, then we're gonna have to replace it, but we're gonna see what's gonna happen when we clean it. But first we have to get it out. So this front screw is usually unscrewed with some longer screwdriver, but it is possible with the shorter one, but it's a bit more harder to do. Alright, so we have this screw that holds the pump from above, and we also have to remove this holder that has another screw on the side. Alright, so this holds the pump, and this is where the screw goes through the pump, and this is where the screw goes on the side. So we have to remove that. And now the back two screws. So one is for the ground wire, and the other is for the casing. Okay, so now yeah, I do have to unplug the cable from the pump. So there are two versions. If the pump has cable in one piece that goes all the way to the motherboard, we have to disconnect it from the motherboard, and this is the case with this one. But there's also a version that can be disconnected on the pump, but this is the one that has a longer cable that goes to the motherboard. So I've disconnected it from the motherboard. It's the black connector for the pump. So you see, now we have to pull it to the front. Alright, so this is our pump, and doesn't seem to be spinning the wiper. So I'm guessing that the wiper skipped for some reason. So I don't know. We're gonna try to get it working again, but I'm not very hopeful, because usually when these skip, it's very hard to get them on the right position again. So yeah, let's try to clean it off, and we're gonna see if this is gonna be working or not. If not, we're gonna have to insert a completely new one. Some gears over here for lifting up the wiper over here skipped, and when I turn the gears manually, the wiper won't jump up, or the same goes if I put it back up, it won't go down. So something skipped here around the gears, so I simply decided not to deal with trying to put the wiper gears in the right position, because that's gonna take a lot of time, and it's not really guaranteed that I'll get it 100% where it's supposed to be. So I've decided to install this new pump over here. This is a completely new pump. Even got this cover over here. All right, so this is what's gonna be going in. The only problem with, or it's not a problem, but it's just a different version of the pump. This pump has this long cable over here, and this pump has this short cable with connector over here. So that would mean that we're gonna have to take one of these cables. As you can see, these cables are either black or white. So the white cable is usually for the paper roll over here, and the black one is for the pump. So yeah, we could use the white as well, because it's the same cable, 4-pin cable. I want to keep the original color of the connector over here, just to be sure that someone won't make a mistake. Alright, so we have this connector over here that we're gonna put on the pump over here, and we need to take the cable off the, goes like this, off the motherboard box. Okay, so let me just turn the camera down a bit. This is a motherboard and power supply of another printer that has been probably disassembled for the chassis, if it went to the UV printer or something like that, if it needed a replacement. So we're just gonna take one cable. Okay, so I got the cable out. So we said we need black cable. It has this insulation around it, so we're gonna have to cut the insulation to get to the black cable over here, because the black one is originally for the pump. Okay, so I'm gonna have to use scissors for this, I think. Alright, so I've cut it with scissors, and the longer one as well. Alright, so let's see. They are kind of holding together over here. I'm just gonna separate the black one, so that's the cable we're gonna be using over here. So this is maybe a good information for you if you're ordering new pumps. Be sure to check if it's with short or long cable. Usually, in most cases, it's the short cable, but sometimes you have this original pumps with the longer cable. So there's one more thing you could do, even if you order a different version with the shorter cable, and that's what we did just recently. So you cut the cable on the old pump somewhere over here, take the insulation off, and you do that over here as well. So somewhere over here, take the insulation off and solder it together. That's alternative version if you don't want to have trouble of returning it or selling it again or something like this. So if you know how to solder and stuff like that, if it's not foreign to you, you can have an alternative solution. It is a bit more work, but you don't have to deal with returning the pump or stuff like that, or it's not gonna be sitting on your shelf for some other occasion. You can use it right away. So yeah, I'm connecting the cable. So this is basically what we had over there. And one more thing I forgot to mention, this is the tube that is going from the exit tube of the pump to this tube, which is a bit smaller in diameter, to the wasting tank. So I think it's not clogged, but it's when you're doing this, it's good to let me just lift the camera a bit up. So it's good that you I don't know, at least try to clean it with alcohol, or maybe if it's clogged, sometimes it's clogged over here, it's good to push through the, let's say, something like soldering wire over here just to clean it up a bit, because from time, of course, it could get clogged or close to clogging. So we will do that as well, but I'm not gonna film it because it's gonna take me some time to clean it, and I don't want the video to be like, I don't know, hour and a half long. So all the other stuff you can clean over here while everything is disassembled. You should be cleaning, because the ink build up around the pump area is just going to be bigger and bigger with time. So everything you can clean, do clean it. All right, so we can insert the new pump inside and connect it to the motherboard. So this is a DTG printer, so we do not have to cover this tube over here with tape, because this ink is not sensitive to UV light, so everything is much more simpler and faster. All right, so you've seen how we done things on this assembly, but so I've turned the printer a bit more to the left so you can have a better look at what needs to be done. We can put that down. first you put back these main screws over here that are going directly to the chassis. One to the front, one to the back, and then the side carrier. Alright, so where is it? It's over here. Pull it through. Alright. And has one screw on the side and the other one goes through the pump over here. Okay, and we got one more for the ground wire, which is connected together with the ground wire for the paper roll. Although there's not gonna be any papers injected over here, but the paper roll still needs to have its function on the printer, because for the sensors and stuff, so it has to remain on and it has to be connected. Alright, so we got this we can connect this thing back on just for you to see, but as I've said, I will clean this tube over here for the wasting tank. Alright, so we got this smaller piece that is in front of the pump. And we got the bigger one that goes above over here, but we're gonna have to be checking the head, the state of the head itself, because if the head is clogged, even with the good pump, we won't get any prints. So that's the next thing we're gonna do after we finish this assembly. We're gonna have to check the head itself, and you already seen how that is done with a couple of times with on the other videos with the syringe, which has a rubber extension on the top. Alright, so this is the last piece over here. Okay, so now we can take out the head. How do we do that? We remove this plastic piece that holds the flat cables inside. So it is kind of messy over here. I don't know what the user has been doing with the printer, but it doesn't look that clean. over here. So we have the, this is actually a version with the dampers on, because it's an L1800 that originally uses dampers. So yeah, let's see. The white ink is not really inside the dampers. The white dampers are pretty empty. The cyan is kinda, there is some ink inside. Okay, let's say that's gonna work, but magenta is empty. Black and the yellow are okay, so not really desirable situation, because if the dampers remain empty for a longer period of time, the head could dry as well. But we're gonna check it to see if we have any kind of flow through the head. Doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but also if I need to apply a lot of pressure to pull the ink through, that's not gonna be good. Okay, so some ink. The cable is okay, pretty clean, even though it's dirty on the outside, but that's okay. We're having some ink build up over here from beneath like this, so yeah, everything you see during the disassembly you have to remove. Okay, so I'll be checking the head now, and we're gonna see if we are gonna have some flow through the head and through the pump when we turn on the first head clean. Okay, so I've checked the head over here, and the whites are not really perfect. I'd say like 60%, and the yellow is kind of funky over here because it probably has a crack on the seal somewhere, but still there's enough pressure for the head to have all of the CMYK colors, and probably even the white if we lift up the percentage in the rip. So this head could be still pretty much useful, although some of the contacts over here on the head itself are kind of corroded a bit, but I don't think that's gonna cause any issue during the print. So let's just put it back and see what's gonna happen. And of course, one more thing we have to do is to plug in the pump, because I can see that the cable is still hanging over here, because I forgot to do that the first time I've put the pump inside. Alright, so what else do we need? We need the cable cover over here, which is actually pretty important piece. Alright, so we need to plug in the cable over here, and that cable goes to the black connector, so you cannot make a mistake over there now, because we've put the original cable in, although we could have gone for the white as well, but someone that maybe is doing this the first time might get lost over here. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna put the dampers back on, but of course we need to pull out the air from the dampers. It's done with the syringe as well. So you see the yellow one is pretty full, so we don't need to take out the air out of that one. I'm just gonna put it back as it is. Okay, and the next one is black, so you can see kind of bubbly over here and at the beginning, so we do have to pull a bit of air out. Let's just shake this a little bit. All right. So it didn't really fill 100% over here, but it's not really that important. What is important is that it's not half full or half empty, or even the whole thing is empty sometime. Okay, and I don't know why the whites were empty as well. That's probably the reason why some of the nozzles on the white went clogged. So this is the thing you have to be doing from time to time. You have to check if there's any air inside the dampers and pull it out, because it's gonna extend. If they're properly filled, it's gonna extend the life of your head life of the lifespan of the head. So this is kind of important, because yeah, from time to time you happen to have some air inside the system, which is not really what we want. All right, so let's see how this is unfolding. Doesn't have to be perfect right now, because we do have to mount the main cover on, so it's not really important. But you can see that it would be important not to scratch against this metal part over here, but so far so good. Maybe it's even a bit too long, because this, I don't know, usually these tubes are not this long, but this one is for some reason. Alright, so we got everything hooked up, and yeah, we should see now if we have some flow through the head and through the pump, so I'm gonna plug in the cable. And the problem that we've had earlier with the initialization over here, let me just take the camera with me. The problem we had over here is that the wiper was not folding in when we started the printer, so let's see what's gonna happen now. Okay. If something goes wrong, I'm gonna plug out the cable for the power supply, but so far so good. Okay. Yeah, so the pump is starting as it should be, so let's just see if it's gonna have any ink over here. Probably we're gonna have to do one more head clean. Yeah, we do have some ink over here, and we do have ink over here. So that's better than I thought. All right. Okay, so we could do one more head clean, but I think this works pretty good, so maybe just this one head clean would suffice as well. Okay, so the only thing left to do is to print something out and see if we got all the CMYK inks on the paper. I just want to check if everything will finish as it's supposed to be. Okay, yeah. So this is an L1800 where we have to wait for 2 minutes after the head cleaning. So this is now the time of waiting. Yeah, for 2 minutes, and let's just see if we're gonna have something printed on the paper after this. As you can see, not very good results. We only have black and yellow. We probably would have a bit of a white, because I can see that the head is pumping it here through the tubes. When I tried to wash it with the syringe, the head did have some flow through it, but as you can see, not even a bit of magenta and cyan here. So could be that the electronics on the head is not working for these two channels, because I was expecting the head to print something out, but as you can see, only 2 channels of 4 are functional, because we do have a yellow in 2 boxes, because yellow is mixed with magenta here, but no magenta, no cyan. So other than that, the printer is working fine, but we just have to put in another head and see what's gonna happen, because I'm thinking that the electronics for this 2 channel is not turning on the nozzles on those 2 channels, so the head is not firing on those 2. So let's see what's gonna happen when we change the head. And here we are. So this is how the new head is working that we've installed in. So we do have now black, yellow, magenta and cyan, which is printed here over the yellow, but it is cyan. So when you have a perfectly good head, you don't have any problems printing, and this is the old head that basically it's only electronics on this head is working only on the left side. So we do have, like we've seen over here, only black and yellow. This is the left side, yellow, black, and we don't have any. In the first print we didn't have had any magenta and cyan, which we do have now over here. So yeah, there were 2 problems on this printer, which is the clogged and skipped pump and also half working print head over here. So the only thing left to do with this one is to put this cover back on, and you already saw how that is done. So this will be all for this repair. So just wanted to show you one more time when it prints on the clean paper. This is what we want. And this one is fixed. Okay.